All right, we're going to wait a few minutes here and we'll get going. Okay, let's get going. We're going to start with some news here. All right, we're going to start out with these Six Flags passes that were just released the other day. They got this VIP sale going on. Did you guys buy your passes yet, or are you going to wait a little longer? I know there's still a lot of questions. They look like they were in a hurry to roll these out, and there's several questions regarding the passes for this year. We have, especially like legacy members, Six Flags. We're really not getting any information on those yet. So if you're a legacy pass holder, and you're holding off, waiting to hear what they're going to do for you, I don't know what to tell you. But if you wait too long, you might miss a sale, and who knows what they're going to offer to VIP members. So I know I'm a Diamond member. I've been a Diamond member for, probably 10, 15 years. I can't even remember now. It's been so long. I got mine out of Georgia. So I am holding out to see what they do with these passes. Hopefully, it'll be cheaper. Last year I had to have two passes. I had the Six Flags Diamond, and then I bought a Cedar Fair Gold with the All Park and all that. So there's more questions than answers right now with the passes, but it's a good deal nonetheless. I mean, $100 for a all park access pass that gets you into 40 plus parks. That's like giving away the gate. That is like dirt cheap. So if you haven't bought a pass, I recommend getting it now, unless you're like an elite member or diamond through Six Flags. I don't know what they're going to do. So that's the first thing we got. So we can talk about that tonight. And another thing that happened today is Pantherian opened. Well, yesterday, actually. Pantherian at King's Dominion opened up. As you know, it's been closed most of the season, or all of the season. It hasn't even opened up this year. It used to be Intimidator I-305, and they rethemed it to Pantherian, and it just reopened. So, yeah, I like how they rethemed it. I think it fits in much better with the area over there, with the the bobsled coaster, Reptilian, I think it's called. That's good. And then of course the new coaster there too. So it fits in really good in that area. Now the only thing missing over there is what are they going to do with Test Track? I mean, they got to retheme that. I think that kind of sits out a little bit. You got a test track in the middle of a jungle. I don't know. It just seems kind of odd to me, but curious to see what they do with that in the future if they retheme it. I know Kings Island just rethemed theirs, albeit I think it's a temporary fix or retheme, rather, for this year, some kind of anniversary, I guess. But that may be turned back to Test Track, backyard stunt coaster, rather, next year. So we'll see. Only time will tell. But maybe getting back out to King's Dominion here soon. We'll go over that here shortly. But another thing we have is Six Flags released the Q2 details, and not good. Now, I know none of us were expecting great numbers, but not this bad. They lost a lot of money, and attendance is way down. I'm not sure if it's because of what they're doing with the cutbacks, or if that's just the tourist climate in general right now. I think that it is a tourist in general, because even Vegas is down right now quite a bit. I mean, there's a lot of empty hotel rooms in Vegas. I mean, Cedar Point, they may seem busy, but they're not as busy as they used to be. I mean, you could go there on a Saturday and just about every line would be spilling out of the queues. Not so much anymore. You get that occasionally, but not like it used to be. So I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen with Six Flags here. I know they have a $1 billion note that's due soon. That's going to be due, I think, is it next year? Somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but next year or the year after, $1 billion is a lot of money. And so that is why they're making all these cutbacks currently, is, to save up for that bond is, well, one of the reasons. Removing rides that have been maintenance nightmares and, things like that, cutting back on events and hours. Although I'm a little confused at that. The Holiday in the Park event at Six Flags Over Georgia, for example, that event, I've been to it a few times, and it was packed. There was a lot of people. The rides that were open had lengthy lines. There were shows everywhere. People really having a good time. So I'm unsure why they ended that one. I'm baffled on that one. I mean, they must not have been making money, but I don't see how that could be the case when they were that busy. All right, then we have Snoopy. Snoopy, yes. Snoopy is the question of the day. I mean, a lot of people have been asking me about that, and it's starting to look like Snoopy's packing his bags and heading out of town, because at certain shops, at certain parks, they're starting to clearance out their Snoopy merchandise. And it's looking like, whoops, excuse me here. There we go. And it's looking like Looney Tunes and DC is going to be making their way into Legacy Cedar Fair parks. Personally, I'm a fan of this. I like it. The Peanuts IP, yeah, it's nostalgic. They had the holiday specials and that, but the holiday specials, you can't even watch them anymore unless you upgrade to Apple TV. You have to buy the app. That's an additional cost. They don't show them on like ABC anymore like they used to every year, which is a shame. I wish they would. I hate how everything's going to apps, but nonetheless, that's kind of hurting Snoopy, because not as many people, being that's older, are familiar with him. Yeah, I know they've had the movie out, but not everybody's seen or heard of that. Now, Looney Tunes, on the other hand, they have several movies out. If you look on YouTube, look at the views of the Looney Tunes cartoons. There's millions and millions of views on those, and there's quite a few. So, I mean, there is recognition. I can't even talk. People do recognize the Looney Tunes, I think, just as much as they do the Peanuts. But I think there's more opportunities with the Looney Tunes and DC than there is with the Peanuts characters. I think that's definitely the case. I mean, you have, for the Peanuts characters, you have what, maybe 5 or 6 characters in there. And as much as I like the Peanuts, let's be honest, they're not that exciting. I mean, especially when you're talking about theme parks and theming rides to it, it's just not that exciting. I mean, I get the nostalgic aspect of it, but like I said, theme parks, not so much. I think that there's more opportunities with Looney Tunes. You got a lot more than 5 or 6 characters there. And then in addition to that, you have DC as well. And that's on fire right now. You've got the Superman movie that's doing really well at the show. So a lot of people are familiar with that. And isn't Fantastic Four, is that DC? I can't remember if that is or not. God, anybody out there know? I can't remember. But Fantastic Four, you got Superman, of course, Batman. They just had another Batman movie come out a year or two ago. Then you got the Joker. That's pretty popular. And of course, you got all the other superheroes, like Aquaman and the Flash. I mean, there's so many opportunities there with these IPs. And the best thing about it is Six Flags already owns the rights to these IPs through, I think, 2053, if I'm not mistaken, as to where the Snoopy IP ends December 31st of this year. Now, they do have the option to extend that IP. However, it's doubtful with the condition the economy is right now. I don't think they're going to spend that kind of money. I know when they initially purchased the license for Snoopy, I'm hearing, now don't quote me on this, that it was $4 to $4.5 million. Now that was back several years ago, and I'm sure it's going to be more than that today. So with the current situation they're in, I just don't see them, adding an extension on or continuing that IP. I could be wrong, but I just don't see it happening right now. They're delaying projects, in certain parks, just because attendance isn't the greatest and the economy isn't doing so well. So I don't think they're going to renew it. That's my thought. I mean, let me know what you think. Next up, we have the best new coasters this year. I mean, I've been on all the new coasters in the country this year, with the exception of everything at Epic Universe. I'm going to try to head down there later this fall. I kind of wanted to wait a little bit before going down there because it's a new theme park and things break down all the time with new theme parks. So, yeah, I just wanted to wait a little while on that. Let's see here. All right. So, hold on here, guys. Here we go. All right. So that's my opinion, though, out of all the coasters I've been on this year, all the new coasters. I got to say, probably the best one out of the bunch is Open Fury, Canada's Wonderland. That ride blew me away. It's intense, more intense than I thought it was going to be. It's smooth. It's enjoyable. It flows really well. And that it's just an overall great ride. It has some nice theming on it. Excellent addition to that park. I also had to put the Flash coaster up there too. I know it's not the biggest, fastest, or longest coaster in the world, but it was just a lot of fun. We really had a good time on the Flash at Great Adventure. So hopefully we're going to be getting out there again in the next couple of weeks to give it another ride. Here we go. All right. And we're also going to get out there to Six Flags America before they close down to check that park out one last time before they close permanently. I think they close in November, if I'm not mistaken, November 1st, maybe a little bit later. Correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, so we're excited to get out there, and maybe we'll swing by King's Dominion while we're out that way and hit up Pantherian, one of my favorite coasters. So that's what I think of the best coasters. I rode Wrath, and then we rode the new one at King's Dominion there. Those are okay. We like them. I'm not a huge fan of dive coasters, so that's why, I don't know. They don't do much for me, dive coasters. Now, the wing coaster at King's Dominion, that was a lot of fun. We really enjoyed that one. I would probably put that third on my list. So that was a lot of fun. Excellent coaster. Get out there to King's Dominion and ride that one. Speaking of, next on my list, we got upcoming trips planned. So as I already mentioned, we're going to try to do Six Flags Great Adventure. We're also going to do Six Flags America. We're going to swing by Dorney Park and King's Dominion to hit up Pantherian. And hopefully, fingers crossed, we're going to try to make time for Knoebels. You cannot go out that way in that part of the country without riding the Phoenix at Knoebels. Such an amazing coaster, a lot of fun. I really enjoy that park. If you've never been to Knoebels, highly recommend it. It's an awesome park. It's got that old-fashioned feel to it. You know, it's free to get in. It's not gated. Free parking. The food prices are very reasonable, and the food is absolutely delicious there. I have not had a bad meal there yet, and they have such a wide variety of foods there. And the rides, just awesome. The coasters that they have the Twister coaster. They have the Phoenix, of course. They have a bobsled coaster. You know, that is just, it's very nostalgic there. The dark ride is awesome. Of course, they have the Black Diamond dark ride coaster there. Just an amazing park. I love Knoebels, and I know they're trying to get their Barren Curve reopened. Although, there's not been a whole lot of progress on it. I did see a picture recently, and they only had like one car on the track, and then the decking and the track itself. It didn't look like they had much more than that. Currently, I don't know when the picture was taken, but I just know it was recently. I know they're going to try to get it open this year, and I hope that's the case if we make it out there. I'd love to ride it. Never been on a Barren Curve. Those are fun, and they're a dying breed. There's not many left in the world. I think there's one in California's Great America, which is closing soon, and I doubt they're going to relocate that ride. And I think that's it as far as Barren Curve rides in the country. Kennywood used to have one. No longer there. So, by the way, if you guys have any questions, go ahead and put them over there now, and I will get to them shortly. We're just going over a few little news items before we start answering those questions, but you can put your questions out there now, and we'll get to them here shortly. Next thing we have on deck is broken down rides. There's been a lot of complaints on social media lately about rides breaking down at parks. For example, Cedar Point, that's my home park, so I kind of follow Cedar Point a little bit more closely than some of the other parks, but there's been a lot of complaining recently about rides that have been broken down. And, you know, I've been there so far this year, I think like 15 times. And yeah, there's been some rides broken down, but they've always done that. And they break down and they bring them up. Now, I know currently Raptor's having some issues. It got struck by lightning from what I'm hearing. And then Rougarou, it looked to be like they're having a lift hill problem. I did see some maintenance workers over there last week climbing all over the lift motor on the bottom there. So hopefully they can get that fixed. That's always a fun one. But I think that people on social media are quick to jump the gun. If a ride breaks down, they throw it on social media. Now, rides have always broke down. You know, they'll go down from time to time. If they can, they'll bring them back up. I haven't really noticed that any more than I have in the past. Obviously, like I mentioned already, Raptor and Rougarou are having issues. And I know that, excuse me, Millennium has been having some issues this year too. But I know they just redid the lift on there. And so I'm going to give them a pass on that, you know, until next year. But other than that, majority of the rides in the park have been open majority of the time. I mean, obviously, Top Thrill 2, we all know what's going on with that. So somebody asked me, Kevin wants to know what my favorite ride at Cedar Point is. Without a question, Steel Vengeance. Absolutely insane. I mean, that ride, that's the only coaster I go on in the park where I come off and I'm like almost out of breath. I'm like, wow, that was just amazing. It's just nonstop from beginning to end. Relentless ride. I really, really enjoy that ride. I think it's a lot of fun. Maverick is okay. I might put that in the top 5 in the park. But Maverick to me is a little uncomfortable. But yeah, so Steel Vengeance, that's definitely my favorite ride in the park. There's some I'd skip, like a Valraven, like I mentioned earlier. I'm not a real big fan of dive coasters. They don't do a whole lot for me. They're fun. I enjoy them. But with all the other coasters out there, I'd much rather, ride those coasters. But yeah, I think that enthusiasts blow it way out of proportion with the rides broken down thing. I mean, you go on just about any enthusiast site, and that's all you see. Oh my God, this ride's down. Can you believe 3 coasters are down at the same time? What's Cedar Point have, like 15 roller coasters? It's bound to happen. It's going to happen eventually. Several coasters are going to go down from time to time. It's just going to happen. So we'll see. Speaking of coasters, next year, I think is going to be an off year for coasters. We got a few new ones this year. I mean, you got one being built down in Texas, which is a record-breaking dive coaster. But I think next year in general, it's going to be an off year for coasters. I think that with the economy being the way it is and travel being way down, numbers being down, you're not going to see many out there. You'll see a few. Now I know Six Flags America closing down. We'll see which ones of those get relocated. I don't know if any will. Hopefully a few of them at least. I'm kind of fingers crossed that Superman gets relocated. The Joker, the Premier Launch Coaster gets relocated. And I'm hoping that, oh gosh, what's the other one there? The Batwing, even though it's old, it's on its last leg. I would like to see that preserved in some way. Being that it's the last one, but highly unlikely there. And Firehawk, I think its days are numbered. It's just it was the very first B&M coaster. If you don't know the history behind that ride, it's quite interesting. It was B&M's very first roller coaster that they built. Gosh, what was that? Early 90s, mid 90s maybe, at Six Flags Great America in Chicago there. It was a stand-up coaster, and it was when they brought it over to Six Flags America too, and then they converted it into the floorless coaster. So, yeah, I mean, in Roar, that's probably pretty much gone. But then the what do they call their inverted coaster there? Their Vekoma. They just changed the name of it, Doctor something, or I don't remember, but it was Mind Eraser for a while. That has a chance to get relocated. Vekoma's come out with some new rolling stock, the trains for that coaster, and it made the ride tolerable again. So I could see another park getting that, maybe like Valley Fair, for example, would be a perfect fit for that coaster, but we'll see. I hope that they can save some of those coasters and rides from that park. They also had the Mouse Coaster there that could pretty much go anywhere. There's a lot of parks that could utilize that as well. And then, of course, all the spinning pukes, as I call them, those can get distributed everywhere. Somebody was telling me that Six Flags Great Adventure, behind one of the buildings, are clearing an area of land that could possibly be for one of the rides that come from Six Flags America. I don't know. We'll see. I know that they've delayed their construction there. They started the construction on the 2026 coaster, which is now apparently delayed. But they have footers going in. They have the rebar in place for a lot of footers. So I'm a little confused, though. They said delayed, but they're not saying if it's going to be later in 2026 or bumped up to 2027. Who knows? They're really vague on their language with a lot of things. So we'll see. Let's see. Did you see the Siren's Curse was stuck at a 40-degree angle for about 20 minutes? Scary. Yeah, that's happened a couple times, I think. Honestly, I would pay for that experience. I would love to be stuck up there for 20 minutes, but I know a lot of people would probably freak out, though. It's a new ride. Things like this are going to happen. It's completely safe. It did what it was supposed to do. I'm not worried about it. It's a new ride. what can I say? I love Siren's Curse. It's such a great ride, great addition to the park. With all the issues they were having with Top Thrill 2, I think that's why they brought Siren's Curse is in case Top Thrill 2 was out for the count. They had Siren's Curse to fall back on, as far as new coaster goes. So we got some more people joining us. Hi, Cody, Bob, Kevin. Hope everybody's doing good this afternoon. Yeah, but anyway, I think next year is going to be an off year for coasters. You're going to see a handful, but besides the one in Texas, I highly doubt you're going to see any major new coasters going up next year unless they're relocated coasters, like I said. Excuse me. Which is a shame. I know there's several parks that are in need of a new coaster. I'd like to see Michigan Adventure maybe get one of those coasters from Six Flags America. And then you have Six Flags Great America, which is going to be shutting down soon, either the end of this year or next year. Who knows? I'm going to get out there before the end of this year to check it out and get those credits. And that's the only Cedar Fair park I have never been to. I would love to get out there before they close and check it out. For those of you that have been there, to me, it looks a lot like the pictures I've seen, at least, look a lot like Six Flags in Chicago. How you going? They got the big fountain and the double-decker carousel right there. They got, I think a clone of the Demon, maybe, and that. So I'm excited to get out there. It's not cheap to get out there, though. That's in Silicon Valley. I mean, not only the flight's a little pricey, but hotels in the area are pricey too. And you can offset that by renting a car and go to a further hotel. But at that point, you're almost to as much as spending it on one of the pricier hotels near the park. So Cody says, goodbye in Vertigo at Kings Island. Wow. Yeah. I've been hearing all kinds of rumors about that ride for the last few years. I guess it's closed today. They got a fence over there saying the ride will not open today. Someone said it looks like they're clearing out the station. I don't know. I have no confirmation of that. There's a couple pictures taken from a distance. I can't really see in those pictures what's in the station or what they're removing, if anything, or they could just be painting. I don't know. But yeah, I've heard that for the last few years that ride was on its way out. Along with the was that Amazon Falls right next to it? Those seem to be disappearing from parks too. As you know, Snake River Falls at Cedar Point was removed last year, and a couple others were removed. So it would make sense if they're clearing up that area for something in the future. I've heard rumors that it's going to be turned into a DC superhero type theme area, kind of like you see at Six Flags parks. So only time will tell there. I don't know. I hate to see them just remove a coaster and not replace it with anything. Or even worse, removing a coaster and not announcing they're removing a coaster. As many of you know, that's been an issue the last few years with Six Flags here, just removing things and not telling people. I mean, I'm more upset with them not letting people know and get their last rides in than I am of them actually removing the coaster. At least give people a chance to ride and say their goodbyes to a coaster, before they tear it out. So we'll see. Cody says she might be there next week. Awesome. Let me know if you see anything. I'm curious about that. To see what happens with that King Dakar. Yep. King Dakar is a perfect example of not giving us any heads up or warning. I don't know if that had any effect on the attendance there currently or not. I mean, the last year King Dakar was there was a decline in attendance there anyway. So I don't know if the recent decline has anything to do with King Dakar or it's just an extension of what's been going on at that park, which is they've had some bad luck this year. They've had some rides break down, and of course parts they need. They got to order them from overseas, and with all the shipping issues going on in the world today, they're down for a week, 2 or more, before they can get that part in. And that's a shame. And I know a lot of this has been an issue too. A lot of the B&M coasters at these parks have been running one train. We're getting a lot of people complaining about that. And I cannot confirm it, but the reasoning behind that, from what I'm hearing, is now that the merger is complete, their Six Flags maintenance program and Cedar Fair's maintenance programs are slightly different. And to bring them both, mesh them all together, they got to come up to par or meet what Cedar Fair's maintenance program was on the B&M trains. So they're only running one train, with the exception of the newer ones like Wrath of Rashaska and that, until they can do whatever it is that they need to do. So I would expect and hope that next year they're back to running, 2 or 3 trains on the B&M coasters. But I mean, maybe it's a good thing attendance is down right now if they're only going to run one train. We'll see. But next year it'll be interesting to see what happens. We got some changes coming in with this new passes, like we talked about. The passes are going to be good at all the 40 plus parks that they got. The dining and drink are going to carry over into all the other parks. Again, we're waiting to hear about legacy members, but I assume they're going to offer that, or some kind of extra upgrade for that. One issue I can see next year is they're selling these prestige passes for, I think it's like $100 more than the pass. So for under $200, or just under $200, you can get an all park pass with prestige. Which is just unbelievably cheap. I mean, now I see a lot of issues getting ready to happen next year. One of them being, with all these extra prestige members, there's very limited parking for prestige as it is currently. I know 9 times out of 10 when I go to Cedar Point, the prestige lot, if you get there any later than an hour or 2 after Oak Park opening, is full. It fills up quick. It's not that big. So now with everybody having prestige memberships next year, this is going to be an issue. Not to mention the VIP lounges inside the parks are going to be an issue too. There's not going to be enough seating for everybody. So I could see this off-season parks renovating their VIP lounges to make them bigger, more accessible for people. We shall see. I know Kings Island's VIP lounge is fairly small. I can definitely see the need there to expand it. Even Cedar Point isn't that big. It looks big, but it really isn't. I mean, if you count the lawn furniture or couches, whatever it is they have out there, you may have room in there for 50 people, roughly, give or take. And they are building those VIP cabanas, which I'm sure are going to be an upcharge. They're not going to do that for free. So we'll see what happens there, if they're going to extend that, which I hope they do. And then you have the people, prestige members. Now, remember, you're also going to get a skip the line ticket. Every time you visit a park, you'll get a free skip the line, flash pass. Just so that's going to have an effect on the standby lines, because everybody's going to be getting this now, and everybody's going to be skipping some lines. So that's potential nightmare fuel right there. That's not good. But the other benefits of it, you get, I think, 15% off instead of 10 on the merchandise and maybe food too. So we'll see. I don't know. We kind of already touched, I got on my list, Six Flags America rides. Where do you think they'll be relocated? What about Six Flags or California's Great America? Where do you think, if any of those rides, will be relocated? That's a great question. I don't know. I'm not like I said, that's one of the few parks I have not been to. So I'm not familiar with it. I don't know what kind of shape those rides are in. Excuse me. As with any of the other parks, they have some rides that are aging, they're older. I know they've got like a demon ride there, like the one in Chicago. I highly doubt that'll be moved. They may save like the trains and ship them off to other parks in the chain, but the actual ride itself, I don't think is going to survive. They got the wooden coaster there. Is that Gold Rusher? Is that what that's called? I don't see that going anywhere. I hear it's a great ride, but a wooden coaster, it's just too hard to move, not to mention costly. They're very costly to move. I know Phoenix, Knoebels is one of the few that was moved, and I think Great Escape, the Comet there, was moved from Canada somewhere. All my Canadian friends might know that. But yeah, so unfortunately, I don't think that's going anywhere. And now they got the single rail, the RMC single rail coaster there. I could see that getting moved somewhere. That would be a perfect fit for a park like maybe Michigan's Adventure. Fit in wonderful there, or maybe Dorney. I think one of the smaller parks would be a better fit for that coaster. Just because of its capacity. They're not the greatest on capacity. So I think one of the smaller properties would be a good fit for that one. Gosh, what else they have there? They have the floorless coaster that used to be a stand-up. Trying to think of the name of it now. I can't think of the name. But I don't know about that one. That's an older coaster too. But they could send that off somewhere and put it off as a new coaster. I mean, again, I bring up Valley Fair. I mean, they could send that one to Worlds of Fun. Could be a good suitor for that ride. They're in need of a new major coaster there, and if you strip that down there, market it as new, I mean, that would do wonders for that park. And then they have the inverted coaster. It was themed to Top Gun. Is it called Flight Deck or something now? Can't remember. But that would fit in at just about any park that doesn't already have an inverted coaster. Again, I keep mentioning Michigan's Adventure, but they need something there, a new coaster. And we have, what other parks? Dorney already has an inverted coaster. And so does Carowinds. So I'm not sure where they would ship that one off to. Knott's has one. Not that they'd be able to fit it in there anyway. Yeah, so I mean, there's not many parks out there. Obviously Valley Fair that doesn't have a inverted coaster. So I hate to see these coasters just ripped out and tossed in the trash, but hopefully some of them can find a new home. And I think they have a mouse coaster there. There's another one that could fit in just about any park that doesn't have a mouse coaster. I think that's all the coasters they have besides the kiddie coasters. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I can't wait to get out there to check that park out and, say hi and bye to it because it ain't going to be around much longer, which is a shame. So once again, we're going to open up the questions. If you guys have any questions, let me know. Put it down in the comments there, and I will answer them. Hello, Carrie Stevens. How you doing? Welcome to our chat. This is my first time doing a YouTube chat, so hopefully everything's working okay. Let me turn the volume up a little bit there. There we go. If it's not, let me know. There we go. So, yeah, I mean, there is Canada's Wonderland. Oh, yeah, Canada's Wonderland. There's been a lot of rumors about what that park's getting next. Now, I made a video recently and showed that they released that list last year after the merger that they were rumored, or they said they were going to get some kind of record-breaking water attraction. Now, I don't know if it's a water ride or if it's something going into the water park, but if you're familiar with the park, kind of up towards the front, they have where Flight Deck, or not Flight Deck, Time Warp used to be, which was the Vekoma flying coaster. which was horrible, by the way. I'm glad they got rid of that thing. That met the scrap heap. But there's been some survey markers around that area. So I don't know. And I've heard rumors that their old amphitheater there, where they had the concerts and that, is on its way out as well. So that's a nice chunk of land up there. And if it were a water coaster, that's where it's going to go. Obviously, if it were a water slide, it'd go in the water park. But I hope to see some of these water coasters make their way into these parks soon. Those are a lot of fun. And they can adjust the water level on them to where you don't get absolutely soaked on cooler days, or they can adjust the water on hotter days where you do get a little wetter. So those are nice. Carrie Stevens says, I missed you at Canada's Wonderland when visiting the ride Open Fury. Yeah, we were there a couple weeks ago to ride Open Fury, and just blown away by that coaster. What a great ride. Such a great addition to that park. And I have a feeling with the success of that ride that we're going to start seeing some more coasters by that company built in the chain. At least I hope they do. I mean, what a fun coaster. I mean, even that little launch right outside the station that punches you down into the mountain, I mean, get you. I mean, it's just amazing. Absolutely amazing coaster. If you haven't been out to Canada's Wonderland to check it out yet, I highly recommend you do that. It's definitely a winner. And now, like I said, back to the delays and that, I can definitely see whatever water attractions they had planned for that park getting delayed. Same thing at Carowinds. I know they started clearing out some land for their water coaster, from what I hear. That's what it is. The land is cleared, but I haven't seen any construction going on there. So I'm going to assume as of now that one's delayed as well, which is a shame. But yeah, the only current coaster right on that list that I know of off the top of my head that is actually being built is Texas, the dive coaster down in Texas. They've already got track on site. They're well into construction on that. So, Kerry says his son, Thomas, Cody, and I were on the first public train on Open Fury. Awesome. Did they do anything special for you guys, being that you're on the first train? Curious about that. They do like a ribbon cutting or give away any little mementos or anything like that? Yeah. I've been to a lot of coaster openings, and not many of them give you anything. He says no, thumbs down. Yeah. I know some of them give away like pins or buttons, something along those lines. But yeah, nothing there. I remember going to Raptors opening day at Cedar Point years back, and they had the ribbon. They had Kinzel at the time. He was there. They had the ribbon at the end of the station there, and they actually had a bottle of wine they smashed on the front of it, kind of like they do when they christen a ship going into the ocean. They broke a bottle of wine over the front of it, champagne maybe. And I was probably like the third or fourth public train of that. So going to a coaster opening is a lot of fun. But bring your patience, pack your patience. Like mentioned about Siren's Curse there, new coasters break down. You can expect them to break down. I mean, they're new. They're breaking in, Now, again, they're perfectly safe. It's just the safety system's doing what they're supposed to do. Carrie says it was a soft opening the Friday night before opening. Oh, okay. Oh, that'd be cool. So you just happen to be walking by when they did that? When they opened it for a soft opening? Lucky you. Man, that had to have been cool. I'm sure that line formed really quick behind you. Yeah, I love Canada's Wonderland. That's such a great park. It's got some great theming, just the atmosphere in general there is just a lot of fun. It's got a nice layout. little confusing in parts, like the kids area can get a little confusing if you're not familiar with the park, but awesome park. Every addition they put in there, they've done some nice theming and that too. What's the one there? I can't think of that. What's the one in the mountain where you shoot the targets? Something Guardian or something. I can't remember. But that is an awesome ride. It was a lot of fun. It's not a thrilling ride by any means, but it was just a lot of fun, shooting the targets. And then I'm not going to, spoil what happens at the end, but it's definitely caught me by surprise, put it that way. Carrie says it was a 5-hour wait opening day for Open Fury. I believe it. We were there. Was it the opening day? I think it might have been the opening day. Yeah. That we went. And it was a lengthy line. Crazy long line. We got on it 2 times that day. I wrote once towards the front and once in the back, and day and night. And let me tell you, we had a backseat ride at night, and it was probably the most insane coaster I have been on in years. It was an insane experience. It was a lot of fun. We really enjoyed that coaster. I kind of like the back a little better than the front. It was I don't know if it was because it was night or what, if they had anything to do with it, but there seemed to be more forces in the back than there were the front. I mean, both were great. We had a great time on both those, but for whatever reason, the back seemed to be a better ride. It says there's a 2-hour wait for Fastlane. I believe it. It's going to be even longer now too, because like I said, they're giving away fast lanes. To all these prestige members every visit. That's going to be an issue next year on the bigger coasters. If you haven't heard yet, Six Flags is eliminating the what's the system? Flash Pass? Flash Pass, and they're switching over to Fastlane, the Cedar Fair program next year. Which there's pros and cons. I'm not a big fan of Fastlane, just how it's operated. My opinion, I think they oversell it in the park, especially like my home park, Cedar Point. There should not be a 45-minute hour wait for the Fastlane. Fastlane should be 5-10 minutes or less. We were at Kings Island a few weeks back. The Fastlane for the Beast was out to the photo booth. I mean, that to me looked to be over an hour, just for that. Now I know with the Six Flags program, the Flash Pass, the system limited how many riders per hour each ride would get when you reserve your time. And so that kind of helped not only the standby line, but it also helped the Flash Pass lane as well by not getting too backed up. And unfortunately, the fast lane doesn't do that for Cedar Fair. You can go on as many rides as you want, as many times as you want. You get off the ride and get right back on. And while that's great for the person with the wristband, sucks for everybody else. Everybody else is going to have to wait longer. And it sucks for fast lane users too, because you got a bunch of fast lane people doing that, and that just makes your line longer too. So I think they need to revamp the system, maybe make it one ride per day on each of the coasters, or you have a waiting period, something like that between rides. Something's got to be done, because that is just the ride. The fast lanes are just getting oversaturated with people. They're giving away all these fast lane tickets to everybody. Skip line tickets. Now the prestige passes are giving away. They're going to have all those. Now, all those people, of course, they're going to go to the biggest attractions into the park to use those. Like at Cedar Point, they're going to do Siren's Curse, Steel Vengeance, Top Thrill 2. So those fast lane lines are just going to be a nightmare because of this. Carrie says you can't use your prestige free single use on Open Fury. Well, that's good. that's a good thing there. Because I mean, like you said, if it's already at 2 hours, could you imagine what it's like if there's a bunch of prestige people going in there with the free skip the line ticket? Jordan Caleb says, do you think Michigan's Adventure could get a relocated ride from Six Flags America? I'm a pass holder. Email a few weeks ago. They said they're planning an exciting 2026 season. Well, Jordan, anything is possible. I hope they do. The question is, what will it be? We kind of went over earlier the coasters that they have at that park and whether or not they will be relocated, or if we think they will be relocated. But I could see something like they've got the room for it there. One of the few parks that actually does have the room for Superman. You know, that's one of my favorite coasters, that Superman the Ride at Six Flags America. They could definitely fit it in at Michigan's Adventure, but with the state that the chain is in right now, I don't know if they want to spend that kind of money to relocate a coaster right now. Maybe they'll put it in storage and add it in the future. They could do that. If that ride goes away, they're going to save the trains for it. That ride just received new trains this year. So, and they're slightly smaller trains than Millennium Force. So before you say Millennium Force, no. I think they'll go to like Darien Lake or another one of the Cedar Fair properties that have that type of train on the coaster. Other than that, like I said, we said Joker's Jinx would be a good one to be relocated, and possibly Batwing, but doubtful because of its age. Although it would be a great fit at Michigan's Adventure. You know, the Woody isn't going anywhere. Firebird, I think that one's done. I think that's going to be in the junk pile, you know. But gosh, what else they have there? Yeah, I think the wooden coaster. There, what's that called? Whatever reason, I'm just drawing all kinds of blanks tonight. But they're a classic wooden coaster there. Unfortunately, I think that one's gone too. Now, here's a caveat, though. I'm not sure if they're just wanting to close the park, tear it down, or if they're looking to sell the park. If they sell the park, some of those coasters may live on. If they plan on leveling the park, I think you're going to lose a bunch of those rides and coasters. But if it's not a coaster, I could definitely see Michigan's Adventure getting a couple flat rides from there. They just got that new Nebula ride there in the steampunk area. I could see maybe relocating that one. They've got a handful of good flat rides there. They got the Starflyer. That would fit in at quite a few Cedar Fair parks that don't have a wind seeker. That would be a good fit. You know, they got a round up there. They've got a bunch of older spin and puke rides that I think they could fit in just about any park. Carrie says a new trash can and bench. I wouldn't be surprised if that's all they got also. Like I said, it's just kind of like weird right now because, you know, with the state of the chain, you know, delaying all these projects, I don't know what's going to happen to all those rides at Six Flags America. You know, if times were better, I'd be more confident, but it's a bad time for that park to be closing as far as rides getting relocated. He also says the wild one will be the big lost. That's unfortunate if that's the case. Yeah, it's over 100 years old. I hate to see that one get lost. It's a great coaster. That is my second favorite coaster in the park is Wild One. Awesome out and back coaster. If Knoebels were to step in and save the thing, I'd be impressed. But like we talked about, relocating a wooden coaster is not cheap. Now they could possibly get the blueprints for the ride, and maybe some parts from the ride, like the trains, the lift hill motor, you know, things like that. Rebuild it, you know, from the ground up, kind of like they did with the Zip and Pippin over in Bay Beach Amusement Park there. That came from Liberty Land. Something similar to that. I could see them doing that. That would be awesome. But God, I hope they can save that coaster. That's it's a lot of fun. Michigan event, no. I live in Michigan, but funny enough, Michigan Adventure is not my home park. It's actually Cedar Point. I live just north of Detroit, so it's actually a half hour quicker for me to get to Cedar Point than it is Michigan Adventure. So, as much as I like Michigan Adventure, we always choose Cedar Point. Obviously, it's a bigger park, although we do visit Michigan Adventure once or twice every year. Um, we were planning on going this year for their Tricks and Treats event. However, if you haven't heard yet, unfortunately, that event did get canceled. So that's a bummer. We went the first year they did it. So they've had it for 2 years. We went there 2 years ago. It was a fun event. It's more, not all the rides were open, only a handful of rides. Shivering Timbers was not one of them. I think that's one of the problems. If they had, I mean, there's a decent crowd there. I mean, it wasn't packed by any means, but it wasn't dead either. I think they would have done better if maybe Shivering Timbers was open, but they've kind of geared it. I kind of understand where they're coming from because they geared it more to families and children, the Tricks or Treat event, rather than, full blown Halloween event like you run into at the other parks. It's more of a family friendly event. So hopefully they can bring that back again in the future because I would love to return to that. Let's see, my son, what was that? You guys rode Air Force One last weekend. It's a great RMC, short but packs a punch. That's down in Fun Spot, right? Down in Georgia near Atlanta. Funny thing is, I was visiting Fun Spot in Orlando, the one right by Disney there. The year before, not even a year before they built it. I think it was just before the announcement. I think it was like a month or two before the announcement. And I was talking to somebody there. They were telling me all about this thing. It was killing me not to be able to say anything. But that I've heard nothing but amazing things about that coaster. I used to have an annual pass to Fun Spot. We got down in Florida, but I don't anymore. But I got to get to that park to check that coaster out. I hear nothing but amazing things about it. Yeah, packs quite the punch from what I'm hearing. A Lions player got hurt in the fourth quarter, was suspended, and a guy was really injured. Oh gosh, I hope he's okay. I didn't even know the Lions were playing tonight. I know the Tigers are playing. I don't know about the Lions, but yeah. So, all right, we're going to go on for another few minutes here. So, if you have any questions, please put them over there, and we'll get to them here soon. Let's see, no lines at Fun Spot Atlanta. Yeah, I know. We went there, and I think it was a Saturday we were there. It was a weekend, and there weren't too many lines. I think the only thing we waited in line for was they have like a mouse coaster type thing, a smaller coaster, and the capacity on it's horrible. So it had a little bit of a line because of the capacity. And then the go-karts with the triple decker go-kart thing had a little bit of a line. Those are very popular there. But it's a unique little park. There's a lot of room there for expansion in the future. They got a big section in the back. I know they had like a little lake or something back there, just nothing but empty land. And then the park itself, there's a lot of empty pockets in there. And Tigers also won 6-5. Yes. All right. I watched a little bit of that game, Kevin. Scuba wasn't doing so well tonight, unfortunately, which is odd for him. He had an off night, but hey, a win is a win, right? But yeah, so there's a lot going on in the amusement industry right now. Some good, a lot of bad. Air Force was a re-ride. Nice. Now, is that one you can like power ride all day, or is it one of those ones that'll bruise you up pretty good? I know we had ERT on Steel Vengeance a couple years ago for an event. And as much as I love the ride, it's my favorite ride out there. After like 3 rides, I was hurting. I was starting to get some bruising and it was sore. Those RMC restraints kind of dig right into your legs. And if you're unfortunate enough to get stapled on there, then yeah, that's no fun either. So yeah, just to recap here before we end it, like I said, a couple more minutes, we're going to shut the comments off. We went over the passes, the new passes coming out, the VIP sale that they have going on right now. If you haven't bought your pass, looking for a good deal, this is probably one of the best deals you're going to get. Now, the trick to this, though, is being that the passes are coming out so early, keep in mind they have the right to change the benefits on there at any time. Like it says Winterfest is included. Like if you're at Kings Island, it may say Winterfest now, but they could cancel it next year with no warning. If that's a big selling point for you, if you enjoy Winterfest, for example. We don't know what the calendars are going to be next year for the parks with the economy going the way it is, and they're making cutbacks. We may have less dates on the calendar next year to visit the parks, or they could reduce the hours of the parks. Instead of closing at 10 o'clock, they could close at 8 o'clock. So keep that in mind when you purchase your pass. They can make changes, and they always do. I know there's some people upset. They bought Six Flags passes that includes Holiday in the Park. Well, that's been canceled. So that's an example of what I'm talking about there. We talked about the best coasters. We talked about Snoopy and how he might be on his way out. We have certain parks clearancing their Peanuts merchandise. I know Kings Island, Carowinds, and there's another park that's clearancing them out too. I can't remember which one. But it'll be interesting to see what happens there. I know Knott's Berry Farm has like a special connection with Peanuts. So I'm not sure how they'll handle that. If they'll retain Peanuts at Knott's or if they're going to go the Looney Tunes and DC route there. But out of all the parks out there, though, I think Peanuts does kind of fit in at Knott's more than any of the other ones. I mean, a lot of people keep bringing up, well, they just added these new Snoopy rides. Yeah, the rides still be new, but retheming a ride doesn't take much. They got Cedar Fair or Six Flags, I should say, has their own sign shops. So they can make their own signs fairly inexpensive. You throw some new paint on the ride that matches the theme. And some of the rides, the ride cars, they would just have to redo those and maybe throw a fiberglass figure or something on there. Because most of the rides that'll be rethemed will be kiddie rides. And it doesn't take much to retheme kiddie rides. We just released a video talking about all this too on our YouTube channel here. So after this live stream, go on back and check out that video. We just released it a couple hours ago, kind of going over the Snoopy thing. You rode 75 times that day. Wow. You're a trooper, man. I don't know if I'd be able to do that. And also, Canada's Wonderland is clearing out Peanuts merchandise. So there you go. Canada's Wonderland is another park clearing out Peanuts merchandise. Funny story about Canada's Wonderland and Peanuts. The very first time I ever went to Canada's Wonderland, it was right when when they bought the parks off of Paramount. It was like that year. And I remember going into the gift shops there, and they were clearancing out all the Paramount stuff. At that time, it was owned by Cedar Fair, but they still had a lot of Paramount themed stuff in there. Like the rides were still named after Paramount coasters. And I remember going into a gift shop there and buying a shirt. I think it was for maybe Tomb Raider at the time. I don't even think I had the shirt anymore. It was so long ago. Yeah, it was 2007, 8. Yeah, that was the very first time I ever visited Canada's Wonderland. And I remember there was a gift shop when you walk into the park to the right. I think it might be like a coffee shop or something now. but it was right on the end there. That used to be a gift shop, and they had everything in there clearanced out at the time. If I would have known better, I would have bought more stuff. But yeah, so they're no strangers to retheming attractions. I mean, Planet Snoopy, I think that was Hanna-Barbera Land, if I'm not mistaken. Carrie might know. Wasn't Planet Snoopy Hanna-Barbera, all themed to Hanna-Barbera back during the Paramount days, or was that Nickelodeon? I don't remember if they switched over to Nickelodeon or not. But either way, that's an example of the parks, retheming the rides. And they can do it in one off season. It's not that big of a deal. It can be done, and it's a lot cheaper to do that than it is to spend millions on a new IP. I can't confirm it, but what I'm hearing is that the Snoopy IP cost between $4 and $4.5 million, and if they got to renew that, and that was years ago when they got the IP, they got to renew that. I'm sure it's going to cost more than that today. So I don't know. We'll see. Like I said, the trouble they're in right now as far as money, I don't see them doing it. I can definitely see Looney Tunes moving in, which I don't have a problem with. I'm actually happy about it. Carrie says Smurf Forest. That was it. Okay. So Planet Snoopy used to be Smurf Forest, which I think, don't quote me on this, I think falls under the umbrella of Warner Brothers, doesn't it? Is that Warner Brothers? I know that's what's his name? The dog, Scooby-Doo. And the Flintstones falls under that umbrella. Which would be kind of funny. Kings Island, I know they used to have the Scooby-Doo dark ride there. Possibly get rethemed back to that. I know it's due for a retheme. It'd be interesting. We'll have to keep our eyes open for that. Yeah, a lot of interesting things, interesting times. I've got a bad feeling about next year. Like I said, I don't think we're going to see many new attractions, especially large coasters. I think there's going to be a lot of cutbacks. It was the 2-0. What was that? Huh? Oh. I think there's going to be reduced hours. And we already went over, they're giving away the gate with the Prestige Pass. So that's not going to be as beneficial as it is right now because it's very limited. Not a lot of people have the Prestige currently. Next year, it's just going to be everybody's going to have it for $99. Why not? But that's going to be a nightmare. So just be prepared going into next year. The parks they're going to try as hard as they can, but they're going to be cutting corners. Just warning you now. There was 2 areas of Kids Station. Kids Station. I don't know what a Kids Station is. I thought they had Hanna-Barbera there at one time too. Did they not? Or maybe it was Nickelodeon when I was there. I don't know. For whatever reason, I keep thinking Hanna-Barbera there. It kind of looks like Hanna-Barbera with the bridge, how it's painted, those colors and that, but it was okay. Yeah. But I remember Nickelodeon. There's some Nick stuff in there, and of course, I remember the Paramount theming as well. At Kings Island, Carowinds, and Canada. I remember visiting all those back in the Paramount days. King's Dominion also, yeah. So, all right, folks, I think we're going to wrap this live stream up. We'll give you another 2 minutes here to throw in any last-minute questions. Throw them over there if you have any. But like I said, this is my first live stream. Hopefully everything worked. I like to do some more of these in the future if you're interested. We'll see how this one turns out. And I know we used to do some live streams on Facebook live streams, and those are pretty good too. Maybe we'll do another one of those in the future. But our upcoming trips, we'll cover that real quick before we end it. We got Cedar Point Sunday. We're going to be there Sunday. I've got some filming to do. I got to finish covering Boardwalk Nights We kind of got rained out last time. And another project I'm working on, I got to continue working on that. And I do want to document the Snoopy, Charlie Brown areas in case they are removed. Then I've got it all documented. Smurfs Forest and Hanna-Barbera Land. Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah. And then we have in a couple weeks, the plan is to make it out to Six Flags America, Six Flags Great Adventure, and Dorney. And the other parks that we're going to try to get to on that trip, if we have time, is Knoebels and King's Dominion to ride Pantherian. If we do Knoebels, we'll probably do like a half a day at Dorney and then the latter half at Knoebels. They got that Twilight deal. I think it's like $18 after 5 or something like that. You can get a wristband for the rides. So may do that, but we shall see. And then, of course, we have the California's Great America at some point we're going to get to. And then a couple ideas we're tossing around this winter. We want to do Mall of America in Minnesota, kind of saving that one for the wintertime during the off season. So that gives us some content to bring to you when the parks aren't really open for the year. So with that being said, I think that's going to do it for this evening. I want to thank everybody for watching, and we're trying to grow this YouTube channel. It really has started growing a lot. I've gotten quite a few new members recently. I mean, it took us a couple years to get to 1,000, and we've already got, we hit 1,000 a couple months back. I think like 2-3 months ago. And since then, we've gotten, I think, almost 200 new subscribers since then. So that's pretty good for us. We're not the biggest channel out there. But we have fun doing what we do, and we hope you enjoy what we do. And it does really mean a lot to us if you subscribe to our channel. It does help us out with those weird YouTube algorithms and that, and just getting us out there to the masses. We really would appreciate, if you share the content. And that Carrie says him and his son are going to California in December. Knott's and Magic Mountain, 2 wonderful parks. Been to both of them. Knott's is a nice park. It's got some great theming. The Ghost Town is a lot of fun. There's a lot of little nooks and crannies in there, a lot of little shows and interactive things in there. They have actors walking around in there dressed up as the sheriff. You have cowboys walking around in there, and they all interact and do little skits and stuff. It's a lot of fun. You could spend half the day just in the Ghost Town. I mean, they're the only park I know of that has an actual horse and carriage ride where the horses, they got a track that you go around on there. It's just, the theming is awesome there. Montezuma's Revenge might be open by the time you go back there in December. Who knows? Every time I see an update about it, there's a new section of track installed. New area's been painted. That's a fun ride. If it's open, definitely hit that one. Magic Mountain is a lot of fun. That's a huge park. If you've never been to Magic Mountain, I definitely recommend maybe doing 2 days there. It's a very big park. I would compare it size-wise to Cedar Point. If not slightly, maybe even bigger. If you take away the middle of Cedar Point with the river there, that the riverboat thing used to go on in the island, if you fill that all in, that's about the size of Magic Mountain. It's a good sized park, and they're supposedly building a new coaster, but again, that's another one that looks like it might be delayed. They've cleared the land and they've stalled there. So you'll have fun there. Magic Mountain's a lot of fun. They got some unique coasters. The X2 is a lot of fun. Goliath is really a good ride. They have the classic Viper Arrow corkscrew there. Probably one of the better ones. It's a good ride. Of course, Twisted Colossus. I haven't been on that one yet. It was still the original Colossus last time we were there. which was good. And then got just a handful of other good rides there. I can't think of them all right now, but he says he's got to go to the chicken restaurant this time. Yeah, Knott's Chicken. That's a rite of passage, I guess. We tried going to it last time we were there, but there was like we didn't even have a full day at the park, so that was our goal, was to do the park. And there was like quite a lengthy line for the Knott's restaurant. It was like an hour or two wait to get seated. We didn't want to stand there and wait around that long. We wanted to spend the time in the park. So plan is eventually get out there next year, stay at the Knott's Hotel, do the chicken restaurant for dinner one night, in the park for a day or two. Says X2 is his favorite at Magic Mountain. Yeah, it's a great ride. Really good ride. Hopefully it sticks around. I mean, with all these coasters getting removed, who knows how long that one has. But Arrow's last ride. That's what the coaster that put the final nail in Arrow's coffin. Was it? I think it was it Mock? Who came in there? Somebody had to come in and finish the coaster because Arrow went out of business. But fun coaster. I hope to get back out there soon myself and ride it. But well, there you have it. We're going to end this now. Like I said, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please share this content. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button down below. And we'll see you out all on Midway real soon. Thanks for watching.